And do you want to do like an intro, like at all, like introducing
No,
yourself?
it doesn't work for
Yeah,
me.
cool.
I think the views actually go down when we do intros.
Dude, I see people do whole entire advertisements in
Hmm.
their intros. Like they straight up advertising like several things in their intro. No problem.
Do that one I just saw today. The one black comedian, like he's done skits for a while. He doesn't do them that often now.
Yeah.
Dude had a whole ass Verizon ad, like for that was his video. It was just a video of him doing a Verizon ad.
Dude, I'm like 5 minutes in sometimes and they haven't even gotten to the damn topic. So I know for one thing for sure is I heard that there's like 30,000 laid off at Amazon today.
First, we're going to start with that breaking news. More layoffs reported for Amazon, and we are talking tens of thousands.
And that's just among corporate employees. Let's get straight over to KIRO 7's Elle Thomas at the KIRO 7 Live Desk. Elle.
Yeah, Gary, Monique, we are talking 30,000 jobs to be exact. That is about 10% of the corporate workforce. Now, we don't know exactly how many of those will be Seattle-based, but those layoff emails are expected to start going out as soon as tomorrow morning.
Today, 30,000 workers with Amazon, and you think about that. I mean, that's pretty significant. I know during COVID, employment spiked, right?
Yeah.
They really brought on a lot of people because everybody was staying home, everybody was ordering stuff online, nobody was going out to do it. But you've seen this in the tech industry, you've seen this in other industries too, where they ramp up in employment,
Yeah.
and inevitably it can't be maintained, it can't be sustained at that rate. And then I think you have with the advent of AI really being introduced into the system, it really is just inevitable that we'd be looking at this point where we have these layoffs, and it's the first of many. And it's happened before earlier this year.
Hmm.
Can't remember the name of the company. God, was it UPS?
Yeah.
UPS laid off, yeah, several thousand,
Yeah,
several thousand.
it's not just one company. It's like a group of them are doing these layoffs, and you talk about AI, and everyone knows about Chat GPT, but like for business purposes, I use it on a regular basis. Like there are documents that I create employment documents, I create checklists, I create documents that would have taken me or somebody maybe half a day to create in a spreadsheet and create, a format or SOP for a specific job, and I can actually create those things in minutes. Actually, Noah was getting out to one of the sites where the new employee wanted him to have a checklist before he went out there, and I was able to knock it out in probably 5 to 10 minutes.
And
A
just
nice, edited checklist for the guy to have for his first day. It's just incredible what it can do. So imagine if that's what I'm using it for. Imagine what companies like Amazon, Bank of America, what these companies can do with something like that for underwriting, right? What can they do with that for analysis of, of all their sales? Like they're going to eliminate so many jobs. It's going to be stupid.
and you've been in the industry, so you know the way that businesses operate, and the most time in kind of time sensitive nature of what we do is or any business really is the admin side. Like it's the slogging through the paperwork, the stuff that nobody really wants to get through
Yep.
that has to be done. It's dotting the I's, crossing the T's, and with the implementation of ChatGPT
Yeah.
and other AI models that are coming out, now you're taking away the lion's share of that work.
Yeah.
I mean, why would you continue to take on X amount in additional unneeded payroll
Yeah.
when you can basically pay, whatever it is, $3,000, $10,000, pretty much, anything that most employers would pay to have unfettered
Hmm.
access to something that's 24/7,
Yep.
right? They don't take days off, they don't take holidays, and can get you that same information in almost a blink of an eye. And I'm not saying it's right. I think there has to be a delineation here that should
But
happen. But yeah, yeah, go ahead.
but it's inevitable, right?
Yeah, it's inevitable, right? It was only a matter of time once it became, present to where people had access to it, to where direct consumers had access to it.
Yeah.
So to what you were saying earlier, think about the things that we can do with ChatGPT. Now, what are you doing when you're IBM,
Yeah.
right? What are you doing when you're Apple? What are you doing
And,
when you're Amazon?
and the crazy thing about it is, I think a lot of us said like AI is only going to take away like some of the IT jobs or maybe some of the telecommunication jobs. where they're, making a million phone calls a day. But I'll give you a perfect example of how AI can eliminate a position. So one of my customers actually wanted us to have a floor scrubber on site and someone running that floor scrubber at night. And I had a choice at that point to purchase a traditional ride-on floor scrubber, hire a person for 4 or 5 hours a night to run the floor scrubber, or I could actually purchase, they have for sale, completely AI floor scrubbers that can self-guide themselves through a facility. Even if that machine was 2 times the cost versus the traditional machine, I would make up my profit over a 6-month period many times over. Not to mention that machine doesn't take any sick time, doesn't have any vacation, doesn't have an attitude.
It can't be bargained with. It can't be reasoned with. It doesn't feel pity or remorse or fear, and it absolutely will not stop.
It's just a completely different mindset. In fact, like I said, I'm already kind of taking into mind and saying, do I need to get automated vacuums from some of my bigger sites and run them in the sites, because I have a feeling like my customers might start expecting this, right? They might start expecting us to step up our game in technology to be competitive before my competition does it. I might need to be ahead of that curve.
And I think, touching base with what you said, you don't have to worry about HR issues with this thing. And it's just generally going to be there, and it's going to get the job done almost every single time. May not be perfect, but even with human errors, we never finish anything perfect ourselves. So a couple months ago, I was leaving the clients, went to a QT station just to grab a snack and get some gas. And I see they've got this little square robot.
Yeah.
And he's just rubbing the floor. He's just minding his own business. People are walking around him. He's navigating. It's navigating around people, right? It's like using LiDAR sensors, and it knows how to navigate the situation. And I'm thinking to myself, well, wow, like we've come to this point. You've seen it in Walmart before. Now they have the QT station. With the economies of scale, it may not make sense for a mom and pop necessarily to incorporate that, but that's not for long, right?
But it's coming.
Yeah, you look at how many gas stations do they have here in North Carolina? Say it's only 100. But if you look at 100 gas stations times, all the other states that they have, and you take what they would be paying somebody, I think they start like around $15 an hour, between 15 and 18.
Yeah.
It'll be substantial savings.
Yep.
And what's your maintenance cost on a machine like that? It can't be more than $5,000 a month or a year, right?
Even if it was, it still outweighs having an employee, which is terrifying. We actually ate at a restaurant when we went to visit Heather's dad, a restaurant, I think it was called Gecko's or something like that in Florida. And they had, instead of having a waiter come out, there was a automated little robot that came out with the food.
We got a restaurant, Hispanic restaurant does the same thing around here.
Yeah.
It comes out and it's playing music and it's got lights and everything.
It actually was one of these situations where we were kind of looking forward to the robot coming to deliver the food. So it can also be not just like a boring thing where it's like, man, I wish I had a person, but it was kind of cool to see the robot come out and the people at the table were actually waiting for the robot to come because it was kind of a novelty. But that novelty is going to become an everyday thing, man. I can just see it already. If I'm thinking about that stuff, I know that these bigger companies, McDonald's, it's just a matter of time. They don't need these people to flip burgers. I guarantee they can make a machine to do it,
Oh, for sure. And I've seen videos of where they have automated McDonald's and you basically type in whatever you want. And I hate to say it, there are some good quality service restaurants, fast food around. I hesitate to use a word like restaurant, but good, they get your food fast and they'll be polite and professional when they're doing it. But we know by and large that is not the norm. Now imagine, McDonald's is all about systems, right?
Yep.
It's all about protocols. Now imagine being able to truly, truly automate all your systems, right? Yep. Everything runs exactly how you want. The burger cooks exactly how long you want it. You present it to the customer exactly how you want it, 10 out of 10 times. Almost, right?
One of the things that, I've been talking to you that I wanted to look into doing a video. I haven't figured out how to talk about it. But I think in the past we really valued ourselves as employees and said, I have this skill, I have that skill. I'm worth 15, 20, $30 an hour, whatever the case is. But looking at this employment environment, it really just it's a humbling environment. When I lost my job a couple years ago, and I was starting to look for work again, and I thought, I've got lots of experience as a manager. Here I was doing a lot of financial things for a company and helping them grow a business, and I'm figuring it'd be so easy just to find another job. But at the end of the day, when you're out there on Indeed putting in 20, 30 applications a day, some of these applications can take 15, 20 minutes, an hour to complete if they want you to do some of the additional tasks, the little surveys and tests that they have you do. God forbid you go to the company's website and they have their own application, which is going to take you
Submit
another
your
20
resume,
minutes.
then submit their online application, which is the exact same thing as your
Right.
resume, because it parses all the data from it anyway, right? But you go through and you double check it, and then you come up with it's an entire process where I think it's going to be interesting to see where do we go from here, because if you remember, I don't know, maybe 10-ish years ago, when you know IT and tech still booming, right? We're still developing a lot of technologies we're using today. They told truck drivers, they're like, "Hey, man, well, if you're having a hard time, getting along doing truck driving, well, maybe you should go back to school, get an education, right? Go back and
Yep.
do IT." And now we're here. We have IT, and a lot of these guys are getting laid off. A lot of these guys and girls. And so now, what do we say? Like, go back to school, become a truck driver, right? And then it's going to be interesting past because a lot of that is going to be automated as well. We're going to
Yeah.
have the same automated Tesla trucks that matter of time is going to hit the roads.
If I can give anyone advice, you gotta have like a side hustle. You've got to have a backup plan that doesn't involve working for another company. Because as I was thinking about, going back to work, even if you go through that whole process where there are probably hundreds of applicants, and let's say you beat out all those applicants to get the position, right? A lot of times you end up in a position that you really didn't want in the first place. You took it because it's the best paying and the best option for you. But then you got to like the people you work with, which is super iffy in this corporate environment where everyone's out there cutthroat trying to, get the next highest position, right? And then after that, they're going to be monitoring you with Salesforce and with every monitoring process that they have in place for operations or sales. And so now you're going to be in a position where maybe you're making what you want if you're lucky, right? That's if you're lucky. But then they're going to be micromanaging you to a T in an economy where Amazon's letting 30,000 people off, letting 30,000 people go. Like I said, it's just terrifying to think that the workplace has become this kind of, dystopian environment where people just are afraid to even say anything to their boss, because if they lose their job, they're probably not going to get another job like that. It's just a really crazy environment.
And it used to be, you could work down at the steel mill, right, for 30 years, have your pension, right, and then hopefully retire at the end of that. There aren't really pensions anymore. That's not really a thing, and there's not really a direction for people that don't want to make the career their life per se. Like, you have some sales dogs. I mean, they will whatever it is. It can be architecture, it can be engineer, but you have those that are going to be at the top of their industry, no matter what they do, no matter what you do,
Right.
and they're going to outsell, they're going to outperform, they're out design, outwork, out everything. But it's everybody that's underneath that little threshold right there that for them it's just clocking in, going to work, and then now you're going to have to actually figure out what do you want to do, how do you make it work
Yep.
when all these jobs and all these possible ways are limited. Now you look at people even 5 years ago. If you need short money, hey, do DoorDash, right? Do Uber Eats, right?
Yep.
Do any of that. Now you can't even get onto DoorDash or Uber Eats. A lot of these platforms are basically capped out in the cities that people are
Yep.
trying to do them. Unless you're in a larger metro area, then of course you can still capitalize. But in smaller regions, you can't even do it. Right? There's no room.
I watched a great video the other day. I wish I had it to put up. I might find it and put it up here in a second. But the guy was talking about he did Uber Eats, or he did Uber, he did Grubhub, he did all these different services. At the end of the day, he was only making at best $20 an hour. Now that's gross. That wasn't counting depreciation on his vehicle. So if you're at 20, not counting depreciation on your vehicle, now you're really talking about 12, 13, 14, 15, maybe less, right? Depending on how many repairs and whatnot you've got to do in your car. So really, even though it might seem like quick money, you're basically just like depreciating the hell out of your asset, which is already a depreciating asset. And it's really got a lot of people in a bad way. And I'm just so curious what other people are experiencing. If you get anyone that's watching this video, if you guys are experiencing something like that, let us know about it. We'd love to also talk to you. So let us know if you got questions, if you've got a similar situation, put your story in the comments, and maybe we'll take that story and talk about it in the next video. But it's pretty crazy, man, how it is right now. The number of layoffs, the number of applications out there, just crazy.
And I think that's what you said is really one of the most important things you could do. Sharing a story, I think, is the most organic way that people communicate, right, and actually hear each other. So when you share those stories, I'm really curious to see what we're going to hear, what kind of feedback we're going to get.
Yeah.
And you never know, that story may relate to somebody else. And then it could be that wake up call that they needed to realize, like, oh, hey, I've been at this company for 10 plus years. Like, am I in a position where if I lose my job, I'm able to support myself or transition to something else? So sharing those stories, right, it can be an absolutely life changing thing.
Yeah. I know, like I said, I know for me, when that happened, when I lost my job a couple years ago, watching other people's videos of what they experienced really helped me go, well, there is a chance, right? I took the chance to start my own business, but to be honest with you, it was kind of a crazy chance, that I was taking, that I didn't have like a backup plan to the backup plan. And I'm just happy that it did work out so far, so good. But, when you're out there by yourself and you've put out 200 job applications, it's terrifying to think, what if another month goes by and I still don't get a job? And we're not even talking about, you're kind of screwed if you're looking for the job that matches up with your skill sets. A lot of times, those are super competitive. You can't get them. But if your skill sets are fairly high, you can't even get the lower jobs because they won't give you an opportunity to look at those jobs because they feel like you're overqualified. So you're like in this no man's land where you can't get a job to get you by. You can't get a job that you need. And it's just it's a tough environment right now.
Yep. And, and chances are, especially if you're relatively new, maybe been in the industry for 5 or 6 years, you're probably carrying student loan debt, right? Like, so if you're at that level, you probably paid for the education to carry that. And now not only do you have that, you have unforgivable student loan debt that will be with you, and it's going to be hard to pay that off making $15 an hour at the QT.
Oh, dude, like I said, the one lady that I watched, she had student loan debt and she had rent and she had all these things. And I'm like, how the heck are you how would you get out of this situation when your education, like her background, she can't apply for a job at Sheetz at $12, $15 an hour because they're going to be like, you're not going to stay. And then she can't get the job she wants because there's literally so many people applying for that job that 90% of the time, most people don't realize you got to have a connection, right? Like you have to have some sort of connection with that recruiter. Maybe someone referred you, or you're just going to be that lucky. You're not the only person looking for that great job, so it's tough out there. All I can say is that, if you're working right now, don't go quitting your job. Definitely go get you a side hustle, get a backup plan to the backup plan. And, like I said, hope for the best because we're just waiting for the interest rates to change, something to change. But the economy is tough right now. It's real tough.
Yep. And that's going to wrap it up for me. And
Okay.
like we said, give us feedback. Let us know a few stories and how it impacted you.
Yeah, I'd love to hear it. All right. See you, brother.
All right. Peace out.
Bye.